Hey there, this is Teacher Ola Podcast, episode 139, 5 tips on how to answer "Tell me about yourself" job interview question. My name's Ola and I'm an English teacher. My goal is to help you start speaking English with confidence and get rid of speaking barriers. I believe it's achievable for you and it's time you started speaking English fearlessly. Go to my website for full transcripts and worksheets to each episode. Happy learning! Hello to you! Thank you for joining me today. I've decided to prepare something that might help you in your job hunting. I'm preparing a program that will help you become more confident during a job interview. Preparation is the key. I would like to give you a tool that will help you get ready before such an interview and go there with confidence. Something that will help you get you going, if you will. That'll get you speaking about yourself, your strengths and weaknesses fearlessly. I hope after the program you won't feel intimidated, but rather brave. In my mind's eye, I see you can't wait for that job interview. That's the idea. The program is being prepared at the moment, but today I'd like to sort of introduce the topic and give you 5 tips on how to answer "Tell me about yourself" question. So that question is dreadful, like, where do I even start? What should I tell? Should I speak about my career or about my hobby? Should I present the whole background, starting with my education? Tough questions. Yes, so today I won't answer all these questions, but I'm gonna give you 5 tips that will definitely help you set the tone and sort of get familiar with what the point of the question is. What does the interviewer want to hear? I hope you're interested, but before we jump in, if you feel like you'd like to support my work, please tell somebody about the Teacher Ola podcast and share this episode somewhere on your social media platforms if possible. You can also subscribe if you haven't yet, rate Teacher Ola podcast in Spotify or iTunes, become a member of Top People, receive worksheets right into your inbox. Go to teacherola.com/newsletter. Go to teacherola.com and visit my shop. Check out Worksheet Sets. They include a speaking English planner. The Worksheet Set allows you to keep everything in one place with links and answer keys. You can edit the document using your smartphone. You can do these exercises wherever you are. There are literally no excuses. Okay, but now back to the episode. These are my tips on how to answer "Tell me about yourself" question. Tip number 1, be yourself. Show your personality. Remember that this question is aimed at getting to know you better. It's not about your career, your skills. It's all there in your CV. Now, the interviewer wants to see who is behind that resume. Who are you? What's your energy like? And are you a good fit for the job? How do you answer open-ended questions? Are you comfortable with that? With talking about yourself? What does it look like? What does it feel like talking to you? It's small talk with an objective, because it's an opportunity for the interviewer to, again, get to know you, have an insight into your personality, and see if their company culture and you will sort of click. Hence, be yourself. Tip number 2, keep it short. You don't want to tell them everything. Keep something for later. Help your interviewer, who has for sure prepared many questions that they want to ask. If you tell too much up front, the conversation might not roll so smoothly later. To be specific, I'd say prepare 1 short paragraph. Right? So, I don't know, anything between 8 to 10 sentences, short ones. There might be some follow-up questions, some kind of back and forth, naturally. Definitely, you shouldn't say too little, like 3 sentences, that might be suspicious. Still, keep it short. Tip number 3, use the present, past, future formula. Present, past, future. This structure will help you to say everything that you need to say. That gives all the background information and organizes your speech. It makes you feel more confident. So, present for starters. Tell them who you are, what your current position is, what hobbies you have, Next, move on to the past. Mention how you got where you are now, education, past jobs, but rather briefly. Future. Finish with some reference to your future. What's your goal? Present, past, future formula. Tip number 4. Keep the job description in mind. Before any job interview, you should adjust your answer to a particular position you're applying for. Be genuine, be honest, never lie, and be yourself, but just adapt to a particular company. If they're looking for a team player, what I would do to make a good impression, I would highlight that I'm a good team player. Or when the job involves a lot of travel, I would point out somehow that I am passionate about travel. I wouldn't say that I'm scared of flying, right? It's a silly example because if you know that job involves business trips, you don't apply if you hate flying, but I just wanted to throw it out there, overemphasize to show you the point. Keep the job description in mind. Tip number 5, don't get too personal. Don't talk about your family life, your spouse. These are personal topics and the job interview is not an occasion to share that. That's a big don't. Of course, mentioning that you enjoy spending weekends with your kids walking in the forest is fine, especially if, tip number 4, this piece of information could strengthen your position. All that being said, don't go into details such as how old they are, what names they have, how cute they are. Nobody is truly interested in such things. Don't get too personal. Here you have it. 5 tips on how to answer "Tell me about yourself" question during a job interview. Let's summarize it. Tip number 1, be yourself and show your personality. Tip number 2, keep it short. Tip number 3, use the present, past, future formula. Tip number 4, keep the job description in mind. Tip number 5, don't get too personal. And this is how you have arrived at the practical part, the key element of your today's English. Practice brings you closer to the job. Practice brings you closer to your goal, so don't repeat the sentences in your thoughts. It doesn't count. Those sentences must be said out loud. Listen and repeat. Speak about my career or about my hobby? Speak about my career or about my hobby? What does the interviewer want to hear? What does the interviewer want to hear? Remember that this question is aimed at getting to know you better. Remember that this question is aimed at getting to know you better. Are you a good fit for the job? Are you a good fit for the job? Keep something for later. Keep something for later. The structure will help you to say everything that you need to say. The structure will help you to say everything that you need to say. Before any job interview, you should adjust your answer to a particular position you're applying for. Before any job interview, you should adjust your answer to a particular position you're applying for. When the job involves a lot of travel, I would point out somehow that I am passionate about travel. When the job involves a lot of travel, I would point out somehow that I am passionate about travel. This piece of information could strengthen your position. This piece of information could strengthen your position. All that being said, don't go into details such as how old they are. All that being said, don't go into details such as how old they are. Well done! Now go to your inbox and grab the worksheet in order to test yourself. Complete the worksheet with translations. If you're not a member of Top People, download the worksheet at teacherola.com/139 and become one. It's free. You can also grab a worksheet set, buy it at teacherola.com. Worksheets and worksheet sets are designed for my Polish listeners, but I'm also working on an ebook containing all the transcripts. Check out my shop. Maybe it's already there. If you find this episode useful, tell your friends about this podcast. And thank you so much for listening. And I'll see you next Wednesday. We're going to discuss the lyrics of The Lazy Song by Bruno Mars. Be here next week. Happy learning. Take care. Stay fearless and say it out loud.